Hi, this is Laura, and we are in week 6 of our LXD course, and I'm excited to see your last iterations for this course. And so this week's video is going to just do kind of a review of what we covered in the course, and it'll briefly cover week 6, but I felt like it was important that we do go over all that you've learned so you can feel good about all the great learning and activities that you have done. So we'll start with week 1, where if you can recall the kind of the 4 areas that we have been focusing on this course are principles from learning sciences, the principles of instructional design, design thinking, and designerly ways of knowing. And so you can see here from week 1 all the things that we have done. So we identified a problem, we really looked into what learning is, and then each week you had individual assignments, small group assignments, and whole class discussions that I do hope engaged you in this course. But I wanted to look at our phases and kind of recollect you on what you have done, because you've done quite a bit in these last 6 weeks. And so phase 1, name and frame. So we came up with our problem. And then week 2, we talked about situated learning, learning outcomes, and learning needs analysis and human-centered design. And so here again, you can see we did perspective. So this is when you developed user personas and you really did some user analysis. And then week 3, we did collaborative learning, learning engagement, and this is where we started our ideation, convergent and divergent thinking. And so in this is where you came up with lots of ideas to solve your wicked problem, narrowed it down in the convergent thinking phase. And then in week 4, we looked at constructivist and constructionist learning, which is the design of this course. And then we started doing prototyping and abductive reasoning. And so again, we did the project planning and prototype. So here is where you spent time on your prototypes by doing high and low fidelity or abstract and concrete prototyping. So you were able to design something, let's say by storyboarding or sketching, and then you could put it into something that you could share, whether it be online or in a PowerPoint, and then you've been sharing with your classmates. And then in week 5, we did embodied learning, alignment, user testing, and more iteration and reflection. So here, phase 3 and phase 4, we were crossing over there by doing some prototype changes or design move changes, sharing our prototypes, getting feedback, looking for alignment between the outcomes, the problem, the assessments, and making sure that there was good alignment there. And then also looking at user testing. This is the stage 8 data analysis, where we have given the prototypes that we developed to some users and got feedback from them as well as from our peers. And then here we are into week 6. And so week 6 is we're going to spend time on understanding a little bit more about accessibility and our positionality or empowerment, and then how we kind of landed with our wicked problem and our prototype. So this is the final steps where we continue to go through iteration, user testing back and forth, and then we would generally be deploying our solution out there and then continuing to refine it. And then this week, as I mentioned, we're going to spend some time looking at accessibility and what we call positionality, which is kind of the way we look at the world. And then what we bring to that as a learning designer. And so you'll see in week 6 in our overview that we're going to be talking about a couple of different terms, something called agency, empowerment, and how our learning design can allow us to be transformative in our learning for our students. And so we've been framing and reframing our questions, we've been developing prototypes, and then this week will have a number of activities that will allow us to really kind of settle in on the final design. And so what we'll have is typical. You'll have an individual activity, which will be that you create a couple more design moves or changes. for your prototype, and then you're going to essentially deliver to me and to your peers what is the final prototype. And keep in mind, this can just be 1 or 2 elements of your prototype. It does not have to be the final perfect version for this class. And then in the whole class discussion, you will have time to really think about sharing your prototype with the entire class, getting and giving feedback, but also thinking about your own positionality and what lens, and that's what the word positionality means. What sort of lens do you have on the world, and how does that impact your learning design? And then you will be able to share that reflection along with the whole class discussion. But your last reflection is you do have the opportunity to give me feedback for this course, and I look forward to your constructive feedback. I know every class can be improved, but I do hope you enjoyed this class. And then as you go through here, you'll see that the readings and resources, as they have been, are really focused this week on these ideas of agency, empowerment, and critical pedagogy. And so you'll have some of them are a little bit long, so just maybe scan through them. But it's really to give you a sense of how, again, we look at the world, how others look at the world, how we can try to make our designs accessible and empowering, and allow students to use their own agency in terms of how they should learn. So you'll see these various readings, and then you'll see also lastly the activities, as I mentioned, the final version of your prototype. You're going to be submitting it with some design moves. You will be making a video this time instead of just writing it up, and then you have some questions here to answer, and then you'll have the rubric there to guide you. Additionally, a whole class discussion. You're going to be sharing your final learning experience design. You're going to be observing some of your peers, 2 peers, and giving them feedback. So read this. And then again, as I mentioned, as you can wrap up this portion by thinking really about your positionality, power, and equity. And then the very last item here is, again, you to give me some feedback. I hope that you can help me understand how this class was meaningful for you or could be improved. And then there is an optional Qualtrics survey that you can do here at the very end of the course. And then, as I mentioned, as we think about wrapping up, please do go back and consider all that you have learned from phase 1 all the way through phase 5. You've done quite a bit of work here in these few weeks, and really shown your creativity, your expertise, and you've shared that with me and your peers. So thank you for that. And as I mentioned, here's the survey, and I do wish all of you luck, and please keep me posted on all the good work you're doing. Thank you.